Before I even get started with this, let me just say that if Cardi B was a black woman, what she's doing right here would definitely qualify her for being a Black Karen. Hands down, 110%. So this video that I'm about to play for you is coming off of the Neighborhood Talk Instagram page. It's actually been shared around a few times by now. And I'm actually looking at it on Twitter, but it's coming from their page on Instagram, where Cardi B has basically given a pass to not one but two problems that in particular, found FBA has when it comes to these two buffoons. The first one y'all may heard about is this guy the gorilla guy, the dancing gorilla, as he calls himself, not us. That's what he calls himself. Where he's gone around wearing these, like, he looked like he just left the gym, and he goes to these different restaurants and just starts dancing all over the place, especially if there's a lot of white people there. The other one is this new up-and-comer guy who literally looks like every bit of a minstrel show whenever he sees food. But the most recent one he did was when this white person was putting on, it looks like a two sauce combination on in a bowl of wings. And he's making these noises, almost ape-like noises that doesn't sound human, and going crazy and bucking his eyes like the entire time. It's literally so embarrassing, and it's so offensive, especially when it comes to our history. And all we do is constantly and consistently call it out for them to just stop doing it, but they keep on doing it. So really, it's just a lack of respect on these two guys because they're doing it to quote unquote get a bag. My issue is, go ahead and get a bag, but do not do it at our expense. That's something we have been dealing with for so long, where everyone wants to use us as a stepping stone or as a launch pad in order to get what they want. And then when they get where they want, they discard us and then pretend like they got there on their own, or whatever the case may be. PC has been notoriously known to do that. Remember, Pink, she did it at one point. Miley Cyrus, when white people wasn't feeling her, she went right to black people, started doing whatever she was doing for a good little second, and then now she went back to doing what she does. Now now you can even pay Miley Cyrus to probably do a collab with a rapper nowadays. And these two buffoons right here are basically doing the same exact thing because they found a niche and they decided we're going to go ahead and expound on that or get paid off of it. The only thing is it has a very bad history behind it. As a matter of fact, I was reading somewhere where somebody was saying how Step and Fetch It, which is basically what these two are doing, was a non-black American. And when a lot of black American artists and actors back then tried to tell him to stop doing it, he kept doing it until all that shit started to dry up. And then later on in his life, before he passed, he only did certain type of roles because he couldn't do the same things he was doing anymore because nobody was paying attention because it got old. So I have a feeling they're going to go the same way as that. Hopefully sooner rather than later. The only difference is back then is because they didn't have social media to continuously promote a Step and Fetch It. But now we have a social media apparatus that does, unfortunately, that is entertained by that. And like I said, notice who they're doing this in front of. They're doing it around a lot of white people. If you look at a lot of their videos, and it's a common thing, you do not see them consistently doing this or doing this mainly around black people because they know black people, those who are of sane mind, are going to check their ass on sight. Because it's black people that mainly are the ones who have the biggest issue with them. And then they try to make it seem like we are wrong for calling it out. Which brings us to the topic of discussion today with Cardi B and the response she gave to these two men. So this is going to turn into like a full breakdown video. For those of you who are unaware what full breakdown videos are, I just find different videos online and they say certain things. I stop in there in between, give my take on it, and let the video continue to play. It's a stop and go type of thing. Just giving a heads up because some people will be like, oh, why you stopping and going? Why you stopping and going? It's kind of hard to retain a lot of the stuff that they say after a minute and 51 seconds because I know she about to say a bunch of bullshit. That's all she ever says. But before I also get into it, shout out to the Plainest Jane because I think she did a video or a stream talking about this, and I believe hers she found like the longer version of whatever Cardi B was saying. But you know what? 1 minute and 51 seconds is already long enough. So we gonna stick with the 151. Let's get to it.
Two guys that like they go to restaurants and they act like a complete fool. You know, I don't know what's his name. He's really brolic and he be dancing all crazy. And then there's the other one that he just do too much for me. So I've been seeing a.
So she already admitted right there that one, I'm assuming she's talking about this one right here, not this one. This is the guy who's always dancing. She says that this one will be doing too much for me. So even she admits right there that guy's doing too much. But peep how she's going to come right back around and defend their behavior, all in the name of getting a bag. Now, like I said, this is all going to lead to a bigger point, especially when it comes to her.
Petition. I've been seeing petitions for people to ban them on social media and everything. And I feel like I'm going to get dragged because I don't have... And I feel like I'm going to get dragged because I don't have the popular opinion. Because they have a community supporting them. And every single time that somebody's doing the same thing from the fucking community, y'all want to bring them out, do petitions to get... There are not...
Hold on. From the community? Cardi B, you're not even from the community. What are you talking about? Did you hear that? She said every time someone's from the community is doing something, there's always a petition coming out. Cardi B, you're not even part of the petition. Of the community. What is she talking about? See, this is exactly why and what happens when people get too damn comfortable. She just inserted herself in there just because. She's. Let me rewind that part just in case y'all didn't catch that.
Have the popular opinion because they have a community supporting them, and every single time that somebody's doing the same thing from the fucking community, y'all want to bring them out.
Cardi B, she messed up by inserting herself into something that she should not have had put herself into. That was strike one. So if her comments comments is in shambles right now, it's just on the mere fact that she inserted herself in there. But again, this is going to drive home to a bigger point, but I'm going to let her keep on talking.
Do petitions to get... They are not doing anything wrong, but being cheesy and corny. I'd rather they become rich.
She said they're not doing anything wrong but being cheesy and corny. I'd rather they become rich. It's so much wrong with the fact that she said they're not doing anything wrong. Of course she would say that because it's not happening to people who are of her lineage. They're not doing anything to insult Dominicans, because that's what Cardi B is. She's Dominican. If there's another mix in there, I don't know, but I know Dominican is that main one. They're not insulting her heritage. So that makes it easy for her to come out and not have that much of a concern when it's pertaining to black people who are the ones that they are insulting. Let me rewind back a little bit see what she said.
Anything wrong, but being cheesy and corny.
You can be cheesy and corny, but not at our expense. It's one thing if they did this as a one-off type of video where it's just they did it one time and they never did it again. But see, they made so much of a buzz off of those one-off videos that they probably thought was going to be one-off that they kept doing it over and over again because they know where the money is, so to speak. They know exactly how to get paid, and that's what they're doing it. And again, they're doing it at our expense, where they are playing the biggest stereotypes of black people. Again, this is history repeating itself, because that's exactly what the minstrel show was back in the day. And these are some of the same people that say they don't know history. That's a damn lie, because if they didn't know history, why are they doing this? Do they actually think they're the first ones to go out there and make a complete and utter fool of themselves for profit? They're not. I find it very hard to believe that some people don't even research this type of stuff to find out where it comes from in order for them to repeat it. I'm telling you, I bet these two know it, because especially look at this guy. Look at him. That looks straight out of one of those minstrel show strips.
I'd rather they become rich. Look how Jake Paul became rich. Jake Paul used to do the most corniest content ever. His content was so corny and cringy. I never found it amusing. But guess what? The kids found it amusing. You know those.
And then she used Jake Paul as an example. Now we all know we have a lot of issues with them Paul brothers, Jake and Logan Paul. Right now I can't really tell which one. No, they're both annoying. I'm not even gonna try to figure out which one is more annoying than the other. For what reasons, we don't need to go and try to decipher. We know that they're both, you know who they are. But you don't see Jake Paul and Logan Paul going out there doing stereotypes when it pertains to white people in order to turn a profit. So for Cardi B to try to use that as an example, no. That was a bad example for her to use. The only thing that she mentioned in there that could have had some kind of similarity was the corniness. And even that could be a stretch, because if you look at their content versus what these two are doing, it's like night and day. They're on two different spectrums and wavelengths. Again, Jake and Logan Paul aren't going out there making stereotypes of their own people. These two buffoons are, in order to turn a profit or to gain and keep an audience. Now watch, if these two decided to slip up one day and said, you know what, I'm tired of doing this. Let's say they quote unquote turned over a new leaf and said, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some other type of content. Watch how much their viewership starts to diminish. And when they see that and realize that the money's starting to drop, what they're gonna do, they're gonna flip that switch back on and going back to doing what makes them the most money so they can get that money to go back up. They have pigeonholed themselves into a corner, into a box that they now can't even climb themselves out of. So even if they wanted to do something else, at this point, they probably can't.
Two guys that like, they go to restaurants, and now this man got $1 million. He owns $1 million mansions, getting $3 million out of fucking fights. Made a whole fucking career, making more money than rappers.
She's talking about Logan Paul. Is it Logan Paul? I believe it's Logan Paul. The quote unquote boxer. That's what she's talking about right here. I had to think about it for a second. I'm like, which one of these buffoons became a boxer and making that type of money? But yeah, she's talking about Logan Paul.
Come on now, bro. Y'all need to stop being crabs in a barrel. Oh, but they look like jive turkeys. They look like this. They look like that. What y'all want them to look like? Y'all want them to be hood niggas?
We said they look like that because that's exactly how they're acting, you goofy bitch. Sort of like you. You know what's so interesting? It's so easy. I know I said I was going to wait to the end to get to the point, but we're almost at the end anyway, so I might as well just say it right now. The reason why it is so easy for Cardi B to come up on here and defend these two idiots is because that's exactly what she does. What they do is almost exactly in a mirror image of what she does. The only difference is that she is in the industry. If you look at a lot of videos of Cardi B back before she blew up to how she would act, because remember, y'all, she used to be on Love and Hip Hop. That's where she got her start at, as far as being on network television. Well, that's not network television, but you know what I mean. And look at how she acted on there. And also look at how she acted when she got in the industry, which was not a far cry from how she would act on that show. She is a walking caricature. That's why it's easy for her to sit up here and defend their behavior, because she's entertained by it as well. She finds this to be funny. And it makes me so mad because she has such a well, I don't know how big her black fan base is now, the black female fan base anyway. But let's not forget, this is the same woman that also insulted black women. Didn't she call them roaches? This is the same woman that said that she would on her own live and her own admittance that she would drug her Johns, quote unquote. And we probably know most of her Johns were black, and take them back to hotels where she would have sex with them and then bring another person into the room unbeknownst to them. And that other person, well, let's just say it's almost like the movie The Crying Game. If you know, you know. And they never banned her from any ceremonies. They never stopped her from getting a bag, quote unquote. But the reason why it's easy for her to sit up here and defend this behavior is because she aids in this behavior. There it is. That's really all it boils down to. Because if she didn't agree with it, she wouldn't got up here and said what she said. She wouldn't get up here and defend what they're doing. Now, like I said, let it be two Dominican individuals go around and start imitating the stereotypes of Dominicans, and it blows up and they become viral. What's she gonna say about that? But then again, she might defend that too. Something tells me she just defends all types of bad behavior. She's mad at black people because it's mainly black people, especially FBA. She's mad at us because she feels we are imposing on their bag when she shouldn't even be in this goddamn conversation to begin with. Who invited her in? Knowing her, she colonized her way in. And then people wonder why a lot of FBA have an issue with these tethers. Because as far as I'm concerned, Cardi B falls into that category. And I believe this guy right here, this dancing gorilla as he calls himself, why the hell would you call yourself that? You know, that has a historical trope behind it of calling black people's apes and monkeys and gorillas, and you going around calling yourself that, making these weird oblong faces and dancing all over the goddamn place like it's the last dance you'll ever dance in your goddamn life. And another thing that pisses me off, and this is a little off from this, but it's still pertaining to this, is I don't know if y'all saw it, but I did a short video where it was talking about this one person who I guess is a troll who found, or quote unquote discovered, the Black American flag. Y'all know the red one. This is red, black with the gold sword in the middle pointing upwards. Well, they said that they quote unquote discovered it and said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and add the pride colors to it. So they took 4 or 5 of those flags and literally threw an overlay of the pride or the academy colors of a representation of each of the sectors of the academy, and said that I feel that I needed to do this. And then I was informed in the comment sections of that shorts that I did that this troll was an academy member from Tanzania. Again, another tether, and they wonder why they are called tethers. This is no dig at any of those in the diaspora who do not do that bullshit. But to those who do, that is why. You're not going to come over and just disrespect our lineage that way and think we're not going to say anything about it. That's the thing. Many of them have that mindset of PC, of the white supremacists, that we should not speak out against all types of infractions that are placed upon us by them. You have their mindset, which is why we call you a tether. Because not only are you tethering to hide behind us and try to blend in with us, but you are also tethering alongside them to try to be them. That is two-faced as hell. But man, listen. This shit like literally like got me like 38-degree hot right now. I didn't even expect to go off the way that I just did in this little tangent right here. But the shit pisses me off. When you love your heritage, you'll understand why that is. And like I said, Cardi B, she doesn't speak for us. She can get on her platform and say whatever the hell she wants. I'm not even gonna play the rest of this video. I really don't care. Because everything after, like everything up until this point was all I needed to hear. Anything after that is gonna be the same bullshit as she said in the first minute and 30 seconds. If not worse. Y'all can go and finish watching it, the rest of it, if you want to. But when, like I said, when you are in love with your heritage and your lineage, this shit would piss you off too. Anyone else who would just let this brush off, and anyone else, especially if you are a foundational Black American, if you just let this brush off, you are no better than these three fools. Now, I don't know what lineage base he comes from, but I heard it ain't here. I'm not sure about him because he just kind of popped up. And what's scary is because what's going to end up happening is you're going to see other Black people going to start popping up and start doing the same goddamn thing as them so they can get it back too. The self-hate is real. Then they're going to have their new queen come and defend them the way she defended them. The self-hate is real. But that's pretty much all that's pretty much all the energy I can give into this right now. Anything else, like, y'all pretty much know. I think y'all are pretty much all on the same page with me when it comes to this nonsense.